it says clear, mild, moderate, severe cancer. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And where am I? And then she was like, you're here on severe. And I was like, oh my gosh. The amount of times I left the velodrome just in floods of tears because I just couldn't understand why it was happening. There were times when I thought I was never going to get back.
It's been a long and emotional road for Becky James. After nearly 2 years out injured, she's slowly getting back to the form which made her a double world champion. But it's been a hard road to recovery, with many a tear shed. It's
been tough and it's been hard, but it's one of those things I wanted to get through, and I've got through it finally.
Did you ever feel out of the loop? You know, you've been out for so long, but now you're back in the mix.
Yeah, there were times when I thought I was never going to get back, and it's a long time to be out, and I kind of couldn't imagine myself racing again. When I was watching the Worlds this year, it was strange because I couldn't imagine myself actually being on track, and then once I got back to that normal training routine, I kind of got over that fear of racing again and got more excited than anything. The last few weeks I've just been so excited to start racing again.
Your injuries, let's talk about those. There's been a few. I suppose your shoulder we should talk about first, because that's been lingering since your mid-teens.
Yeah, since I was about 15 and I was in the gym doing an exercise and I heard my shoulder go pop. Didn't really do a lot about it, and I always had pain on and off for years. And then I kind of maintained it for a few years, and then I stopped doing upper body stuff. And then all of a sudden I was getting pain in it, I couldn't sleep on it or anything. But once I'd had my knee injury, we decided that the best thing to do was rehab them both at the same time. So I had surgery on my shoulder just before I went into rehab for my knee.
The one that stopped you from going to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow to repeat your success from Delhi. I'm sure it's still quite sore to think about.
Yeah, it's been a tough few years because, missing out on London, and then these major competitions, and then obviously I made my comeback, getting the 2 world titles, and then I was hoping it was going to go a nice smooth run all the way to Rio, and then having the Commonwealth Games and everything. But it's just one of those things, and it's tough to miss out on 2 big competitions. It was just so frustrating and so upsetting, and the amount of times I left the velodrome just in floods of tears because I just couldn't understand why it was happening, and it just lingered on for so long. It was really hard.
But it wasn't just her sporting injuries causing concern. After going for a routine smear test, Becky was told that she was at risk of developing cancer.
So luckily, I got in for my routine smear, and then said, 2 weeks later, I had the results, and they said abnormal smear. Mum was like, oh, it's nothing to worry about, it's one of those things. And then I went down, and they kind of just explained it to me, and it was kind of like a box scale, and it was so this is what it looks like, and it says clear, mild, moderate, severe cancer. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And where am I? And then she was like, you're here on severe. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't really know what to expect. And I was like, oh, can you explain it to me? And she was like, so she explained everything and how they burn the cells away, and, if you leave it, then it can develop into cancer. So I just found it really stressful. I was reading on the internet, probably the worst thing to possibly do. And I was just constantly worrying about it. It was a really stressful time, and I found it really emotional, but, I had my family there.
Did it give you a perspective on your sporting injuries? It doesn't matter how many injuries I get, at least my health is fine now.
Yeah, that is definitely the way I think now, and I think it was hard because at the time when I was going through that, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter about being injured. Main thing is I want to get my health right, and then I'll be fine. But then once I got over that, then it was the worry about the injuries again. But being out for a whole year or over a year, it's made me have a massive perspective on being happy and enjoying what I do, and because there's obviously times when I just didn't think I was going to get back, and I used to get so upset about everything. Once I got through that, I realised I love what I do, and that's why I'm coming back, and that's why I want to get to the Olympics, because I love my job and I love cycling.
The one upside of her time away from cycling has been the chance to spend more time with her boyfriend, George North. Himself out of action due to an enforced layoff following a series of concussions while playing for both Wales and Northampton.
It was tough because we're both out of routine, and it was quite nice, whereas through the winter I could go and watch the games. Obviously seeing him get so many concussions was awful, and that was more of a worry than my knee, because it's your head at the end of the day and you only get one of them, whereas I can get my knee replaced if I need it replaced, but that I don't, so it's fine. It's been hard to see him not playing, and going through concussion protocols and stuff is quite stressful to think how he was affected after the concussions and like how his speech was affected for the first few days, and it's just crazy to think like, that the rugby boys have to go through that. I feel like my knee's nothing again compared to what they do, so I wonder why I complain sometimes. We're both really happy to be back. Obviously, massive time for George with the World Cups, and it's a massive year for me to get back with the World Cups and the World Championships to get to Rio. So yeah, big year for us both now.